I want to talk about egoist ethics. Now, this is just my thoughts on egoist ethics. There are other egoists, such as Ayn Rand, who has her own ethical system, an egoist ethical system. And so there's no uniform egoist ethics. So these are my ideas on egoist ethics. I think the notion that there are acts that are morally right or wrong to do in themselves is counterproductive, or at least a non-productive position. By acts that are wrong in themselves, I mean acts that are wrong to perform regardless of the consequences of performing them. First of all, prima facie, trying to find out what acts are immoral in themselves is not a productive task because you're not searching for what rules, if followed, lead to good consequences. It's simply looking for acts that shouldn't be performed regardless of the consequences. And this is what the philosophers of ethics call deontology. So there's ethics is categorized mainly by either deontological ethics or consequentialist ethics. For example, deontologists would say that killing an innocent person should never be done regardless of the consequences, even if the consequences of refraining from killing the innocent person are much more horrific than refraining from it. And this deontological view contrasts with consequentialism, which says that acts are wrong or right contingent upon the consequences of performing those acts. Now, I'm a consequentialist, an egoist consequentialist. And I think this is a rational ethic because what is the sense of being moral if being moral brings undesirable consequences? There's no sense at all that I can see in that. Therefore, determining what things are immoral in themselves, even if there is such a thing, is a waste of time. Instead, if we want to get what we want out of life, then we should be finding out what works and what doesn't work. It's as simple as that. Now, does this mean that I'm proposing discarding ethics altogether? No, it doesn't mean that. I'm just saying that ethics should be simply a study of determining what works. If I want to maximize my life, then I ought to eat. It's ethical for me to eat. It's unethical for me to drink poison. If I want you to trust me, then I ought to give you reason to trust me, such as not lying. So it would be ethical of me to be honest, or at least give the impression that I'm honest to you so that you'll trust me. Now you may say, what if people differ in their goals? Then what is right for one person is wrong for another person to do. Well, that's true. But so what? This doesn't make the ethics subjective, because they're both still following the same rule, which is do what works to obtain your goal. If you have the same goal as me and in the same situation as me, then our actions would be identical. So finding out what is ethical is simply what works to get what you want. Now this may lead you to ask, what if one person finds that he needs to kill a particular person to get what he wants? You may say, are you saying that he should try to kill that person? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he should kill that person if it will get him what he wants. Now what he thinks will lead to getting what he wants and what actually will get him what he wants are not necessarily the same thing. Whether or not he should kill someone is objective, not subjective. For example, if your goal is to get to grandma's house in the shortest amount of time and she lives across the field, then you should walk in a straight line rather than in an arc. Because it's the shortest distance to walk in a straight line than in an arc. And this is not subjective, this is objective. The reason that you should walk in a straight line is not because you think it's the shortest route, but because it is the shortest route. And Another example, playing pool. If you want one of the balls to go in a certain pocket, you've got to hit the ball in a certain way to make it go in the pocket. Now, I know this sounds strange to say it's ethical to hit a ball a certain way, but just replace the billiard balls with people. So if you want certain things from people, then you've got to treat them a certain way. And that constitutes ethics. So let's think about the killing example. First of all, why does a person rob another person? Well, let's say the person wants to rob someone's money and he kills him. Now, why does a person rob another person? Because he wants money. And why does he want money? Because he thinks it's going to give him some pleasure or happiness that he was lacking. Maybe it's going to buy something. Maybe it's going to buy him food or something. Now, he's taking a chance of getting hurt or killed while trying to kill someone, and he's probably going to be severely punished or killed by society. So is he really doing what works best to get what he wants by trying to kill someone? He may get the money, but if he ends in prison, then he's not obtaining the goal for which he wants to kill someone. He may get the money, but if he ends up in prison, he's not obtaining the goal for which he wanted the money, which is to bring pleasure to his life. So he would have greater pain than he had. So for everyone that's in jail, you can almost certainly objectively conclude that it was unethical for them to kill people. We can be pretty certain of that, unless their life in jail brings them a happier life than life out of jail. Now, these killers that are in jail should have known that it was unethical to kill people. In other words, if they were smarter, they would have realized that the possible reward didn't justify the risk of committing the act. So it does take intelligence to determine what works and what doesn't to get what you want. But there are a lot of stupid people out there. There certainly are. So what are we to do to protect ourselves from these people who make judgments and believe it is in their self-interest to kill people, but actually is not? What do we do to protect ourselves from people that may think that killing us to get our money will make their lives better? Well, we need to create rules. Rules are for stupid people to follow. People that don't know what acts to refrain from if they are to reach their goals in life. Thus, we have a rational basis for the creation of laws. Now, why is it ethical to create laws? Because they work to help us get what we want. So in fact, laws and the enforcement behind them helps prevent people from harming us. And therefore, it's ethical for us to create laws. And those laws that are ethical are those that maximize our own freedom from being transgressed upon by short-sighted people. So why is it unethical to kill people? Because if you want happiness, the risk-reward ratio doesn't justify trying to kill people to obtain happiness. Society will forever be trying to find you, and when they do, they will make sure that you pay the price for doing it. However, if it is ethical if life in prison will make you a happier person than being out of jail. And not that you think that it will make you happy, but if it actually will. And if indeed it will, then egoists will be happy to accommodate you.